Hi, guys. Happy Friday. Good morning. Yes, guys. I hope everybody's doing great this Friday. I thank you so much for all who are coming into the live stream or who are watching back on the replay. I appreciate you. So let's get started with today's topic. Today's topic is speak up. How many of us go through life having all of these expectations, wanting things, but then when they're not happening for us, how do we feel? The question we have to ask is, did we speak up for what we wanted? Did we communicate what we wanted? Communication is so important. We cannot expect other people to read our mind. Nobody can know what you're thinking and feeling unless you voice it. So I'm going to get into, speaking up for yourself, because whether you are communicating publicly or privately, you know, you have to be able to speak up for yourself. And I can say for a fact, I know for myself, it's easier for me to advocate for others than it is to speak up for myself. But when we don't speak up for ourselves, we erode our sense of self worth and we become engaged in a cycle of, rationalizing behavior, or that takes us further away from our values about what we want. And we start to drift away from the person that we want to become. So there is a role in boundaries when we speak up, because speaking up really is a conversation about our boundaries. That uncomfortable feeling that you may get with needing to say something, even if you're afraid to say it, is called, you know, you just are afraid. And you need to understand that your feelings, your values, and your thoughts are important. So when you feel the need to speak up, you feel that a boundary or a value that you hold has been violated in some way. And it's only natural for you to want to reinforce your boundaries, anything that conflicts with your values. You have the desire to want to be accepted. And this is especially strong when you have close relationships, either at work, with family members, or with friends. But the most important relationship you should have is with yourself. Do you have that very strong and important relationship with yourself? You have to think about yourself and what you want. So, what do you want for yourself? Do you want to be able to tell people how you feel, or you don't? There are so many things that can happen to us in life, so much painful things, so many good things that can happen to us if we would just tell people how we feel. When you don't like something, whether somebody does something right to you or wrong to you, you need to tell people how you feel. You have to tell people when you appreciate them. And you have to also tell people when they let you down, when they hurt your feelings, when they didn't follow through with something that they agreed to do. There are a lot of people, including myself, who keep things inside. And that is not a healthy way. It's really setting yourself up for a toxic downfall, for you to spiral out of control. There's so many people that things have happened in their life and they just bottle it, like a soda bottle. They just bottle it, they close it up tight, and they don't want to tell anybody how they feel until one day they just have an explosion and they just go off. They just go off because you can only keep things and hold things down for a certain period of time. You're a human being. You're a man or woman who has feelings. You should not keep the way that you're feeling inside. Not that you're just going to walk up to any random person and tell people your private business, but we have to work on making our opinions known, making our boundaries known. We have to let people know where they stand with us, how we feel, because I was under the assumption my whole life that people just could know what I meant just by my body language. Like if I was mad, sad, upset. But as an adult, we don't want to play the mind games, the guessing game. However you are feeling, whatever it is that you want to say, we have to learn to communicate in a healthy way. And I do understand that that is something new. Communication is different with different people. Not everybody wants to communicate how they feel. Not everybody wants to communicate how they feel. And that's why you can feel very distraught, very let down. Hi, Donnery. Welcome in. Thank you so much for coming. Happy Friday to you. I appreciate you being here. Yes, we have to communicate. And it's not easy to be a communicator and to speak about how you feel, especially if from your childhood you were not raised in a healthy communication styles. You weren't raised to talk about how you feel, setting boundaries, all of those things. All of those things are learned. You have to learn that it's okay. It's okay if you are not the most effective, but take time and practice communicating what you want to say. Sometimes you may need to write it out and say, this is what I want to say to this person. And another way you can communicate, it does not always have to be face to face. If there's something that you want to tell somebody, you can do the old fashioned way, write them a letter. Also, send an email, text messages. But I have to give you a warning. Text messages sometimes can be misunderstood, either by, if you put it in caps or you put an exclamation mark. You have to understand that people can only know certain things. That's why, as much as possible, try to have a conversation on the phone or a video conference, especially now with Skype and StreamYard and all of different video streaming things. You can have conversations so that you can be able to see somebody and let them know how you're feeling. So that's the first thing, guys. You have to voice what you feel. We have to learn to speak up what we are feeling. And when you understand that the way you are feeling is important, it matters, that's when you're going to continue to work at it and to improve and to be better at it. So we have to not only, when we say we want to communicate, we can't just communicate every single thing because not everybody has our best interest at heart. Sometimes when you want to say something to someone, some people, because of their personality or the things that they have gone through in their life, they can take something you say, turn it around, and misconstrue it, and that's not what you wanted to say. So it's important that when you say something, you have the other person say, communicate back how they feel, and then you say, did you understand what I meant when I said this? We have to break down our communication style and do not leave anything open to guesswork, because that's what we will do. We will just let people guess things about us if we don't tell them exactly, being specific, giving examples, not just saying, this made me mad. Why did it make you mad? how did it make you mad? Or the opposite. If someone makes you happy, someone does something for you, tell them why they make you happy. We have to learn to communicate everything effectively. We can't just leave things out in the open and just make assumptions that people must know how you feel. People must know they love you. Have you communicated that? Have you communicated to others that you love them, that you care about them, and why you love them? When we are specific in our thoughts, in our thinking, in our communication with others, then we can get the same back. We have to relearn and rethink our communication style, because not all the time the way we communicate is effective. We may mean to say one thing and then another thing comes out. So we have to ask people questions. We have to ask people how they feel about what I said, because you can ask somebody to repeat what you said, and that is not what you meant to say. Because a lot of times we will say one thing, but what another person hears is a completely different thing. So that's why it's important for us to speak up, to ask questions, and to ask those questions how, why, so that nothing is left out in the open. So, why would we want to speak up for ourselves? It's because our communication patterns are different. Like most of what we do are habits. If we've repeatedly have had negative experiences around advocating for ourselves, or because of social acceptance, we're less likely to feel safe speaking up. And there are some reasons why feel that they are too afraid to speak up. It's based on your gender differences. A study was given, and it was said that 45% of females said that they were afraid to speak up at work because of the society's gender expectations about women, because women are socialized as being less assertive, and as those who do speak up are often labeled as difficult to work with. So we have to this could be one of the reasons why some women are afraid to speak up, especially on the job, because if you voice how you feel, then they would say you're difficult, you're hard to deal with, you're hard to work with, or you're a person who's a complainer. Another reason why people are afraid to speak up is because of childhood experiences. If you were not listened to at home, if you wanted to say something and you were told to be quiet, or you didn't feel comfortable and safe um, voicing how you felt, you wanted to say something and then you were not listened to, especially if you grew up in and had the type of home atmosphere where children were told to only, obey, and you really weren't given the room and the space to express your opinions and your feelings, because children were only seen and not heard. So we have to rethink, the generational gaps. Just because something happened to you as a child, it does not mean that you have to continue that in your adulthood. Another thing is that people are afraid of bringing up their past traumatic experiences when they speak up, because they're afraid that they may get laughed at. Hey, James, how are you? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Welcome in. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you're doing great. Yes, people are afraid of speaking up because of their past trauma. We all know that trauma is something very difficult that happens, something that causes you to relive it like a scratch record over and over again. It's something very painful, very hard for you to handle, because you're afraid of people making judgments, passing judgments on you, and you're afraid of getting laughed at or looked at a certain way because of what has happened to you. You don't want to get laughed at. And regardless of what the stakes are, whatever the traumatic experience that you have, you kind of shut your voice down because you don't want to prevent any further harm. When you have been through a traumatic experience, something that has really shook you to the core, you really you're already not on steady ground. Your foundation is not strong with that trauma because either you don't want to think about it, you don't want to relive it, you don't want to think about that pain, you don't want to hurt from it. So you don't want anyone to add to all of that pain and anguish and to give you more trauma because you're trying to talk about it. So that's another reason why people don't want to talk about, speak up because of a trauma. Another one is the fear of retaliation. They're afraid that if their opinion goes against what somebody else has to say, they're afraid of what are the repercussions of speaking up. What will happen if I say this, what will happen after? So, although sometimes it may be unethical for us to draw attention, to certain things because of what could happen. Maybe you may lose your job. Maybe you may lose an opportunity, some special comforts in your life, or a certain status because speaking up and being an advocate either for yourself or others sometimes may cause you to be able to lose in some type of way. So, another reason why people are afraid to speak up is because they're concerned about what other people think. There is a big thing called the fear of others or peer pressure. We're afraid that, even if you don't have anything to lose, speaking up is still not easy because you fear upsetting a friendship or making a situation uncomfortable or not fitting in or being seen as a person who makes problems, a troublemaker. And that's what we have to do. We have to, regardless of whatever the consequences may be, we have to learn to speak up because at the end of the day, you have to learn to live with you. You have to learn to live with yourself. So, when should you speak up? This is the difficult thing. You have to speak up for yourself, but you have to learn to speak up when it is the right time. Just because you want to say something, it doesn't mean that you should say it at that right moment. We have to learn if someone is already upset, that is not a good time for you to have a heart to heart discussion. We have to meet people in a zone where it's safe not only for them, but for us. Because once something is said, once the words come out of your mouth, that's the end of it. So, this is 6 things that you should always speak up for when you notice someone is upset. So, when you are speaking up for someone else, it's often easier, but it's no less powerful because the person that you're trying to speak up for, some type of way, they may feel uncomfortable. They don't feel that they have enough comfort in voicing how they feel, voicing their own experience. So you have to step in to empower them, to strengthen them, to give them some courage. And you may pave the way for somebody else to share more openly how they feel. So, another time when you are going to have to speak up is when something goes against the rules, when something is just not right, either in the workplace, in your family, against, with friends, because that's the hardest thing when you know something isn't right and you need to speak how you feel, but the culture of the world that we live in is about acceptance. Everybody wants to be accepted, and especially in the workplace, in your family, amongst your friends. But when something is not right, it's just not right. And we have to speak up for the rights of ourselves and others. We have to advocate for people who cannot do it because of either they are not strong emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Hey, Paula, welcome in. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, we have to speak up for others. We have to speak up for ourselves. We have to speak up for other colleagues because it's important. It's important because you have to empower not only yourself, but you have to empower others. And you're showing other people how you feel about yourself. If you see something that has happened and it's not right, but you keep it to yourself, you are just as guilty as the person who committed the wrongdoing. So, number three, we have to speak up when something dangerous is happening. Say we see a crime, we we see something that's not right, especially when it comes to children or the elderly. We have to advocate for others that the boundary was violated with them, and we have to be the voice of somebody who cannot speak up, especially when something is unethical or dangerous that occurs. So you don't want to be known as a person who just sweeps everything under the rug. And we also don't want to be known as a brown noser, but we have to meet somewhere in the middle. Not everything that comes up, we want to speak up about it, but things that are dangerous, things that are unethical, we have to learn to live with ourselves at the end of the day. Remember, when you love yourself, it's easier for us to love others, and especially our neighbors or our family members or friends or workmates. We have to speak up for what's right, because at the end of the day, you have to live with the consequences of your actions. And you don't want to learn to live with a tainted conscience. So, number four, when you have an upper hand. So, when you are in a leadership role, you know, you have the responsibility to speak up for those who don't have that same advantage. So, you're a person who's a leader, you're a person who is an advocate for somebody else, either a child, somebody's elderly, somebody who has a handicap or special needs. We have to show them respect. We have to uplift a person who is not available either emotionally, mentally, or physically to be able to do that for themselves. You have to protect others. And it's so important to do that, because how would you feel if it was you? We have to learn to put the shoe on the other foot and respect other people as much as we respect ourselves. Yes, there is a discreet way to do things for ourselves, and we have to speak up. You're so right. Thank you so much, Paula. Have a great day. Yes, we have to learn to respect ourselves. And another reason why we have to speak up is because we may have the upper hand. So if whether you're in leadership, whether you're in a role where you are in a role of being a boss or in management or something like that, you have to advocate, because when you're in a role of leadership, you have to show other people by your actions the way things should go. So that means speaking up. You have to be the voice for the voiceless. So we have to learn to speak up when no one else does. And we've all experienced that moment of, you know, everyone looking around and nobody wants to speak up, but one person does. when nobody else does. So nothing's gained by letting things go that's unexpressed. It often feels safer for us to speak up in these situations, since you can feel the relief, especially from a group, when someone finally says what everyone has been thinking. So, number 6, we have to speak up when the inner voice says to speak up. So, the more that you're aware of who you are, where you're going, your well being, your thoughts, and your feelings, it becomes more, you become more aware of the feelings of others. So that's what makes it more difficult for you to stay silent when something is just not right. Something is off. Something is not, it's not aligning well with you in your spirit. You have to listen to that inner voice, because most of the time that's your conscience. It's telling you something is not right. Listen to that conscience. Most of the time it is not steering you wrong. It's steering you right in the direction where you need to be. So there was a study that says that employees spent more than 2 weeks ruminating about moments when they didn't speak up. So instead of having to worry about it later, speak up. Speak up for when you think something isn't right. And we have to learn to do it in a respectful way. You don't just come off or fly off the handle or talk to people any way that you want to because you feel a certain way. So, how do you start to speak up? So, speaking up is something that you have to practice at doing. It's not just saying anything, flying off the handle, being rude. No, learning to speak up is, you do this in a respectful way. You respect other people. If you want to gain respect, you have to give it. So respect other people. Speak to people privately if it's an uncomfortable situation. Don't talk to other people, gossip about people behind others' back, because it always comes back to you, which you wouldn't want to be talked about behind your back. So, do unto others as to what you would want as well. So, the key to being successful at anything in your life, if you want something, you have to speak up for it. You have to ask for what you want. So, we have to work at managing that. If we see something, we have to learn to ask questions. When we don't have the knowledge of things, we don't just sit there and say, I wish I knew how to do that, or I wish I was like this person. No, we have to speak up. We have to ask questions. And there was a saying from a long time ago, the only stupid question is the ones we don't ask. So we have to learn to ask questions and respect ourselves. Hey, Lala. Happy Friday. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. How are you and your family? I hope they're doing well. Yes, and we have to also learn that we have to speak up for ourselves when it's not easy. Sometimes it's easy to just say something is right, something is wrong, but we have to get into the habit of speaking up. So before you speak up, you have to ask yourself, when am I the most likely to need to speak up? Is there a conversation that I'm avoiding? If so, why? What am I afraid of? So this is the questions that you have to ask yourself first. The second thing is we have to learn the feelings. We have to get in touch with our feelings. And if you have something that might be difficult for you to say, like a lump in your throat or butterflies in your stomach, you just have to practice it. Write it down. Do some role play. Speak to yourself in front of the mirror, like how you want to have the conversation with this person, with the said person. So number 3, you have to try to manage the discomfort by not speaking up for yourself by forcing the feeling. Instead, you have to Try it in this way. I have a question about this. I'm uncomfortable with that. From my perspective, you said we have to be specific in what we say to others. We can't expect people to know things. We can't expect people to read our minds. And while we want to be respectful as well, we have to speak up and voice how we feel. How many times do we get disappointed by things? We get hurt behind things, but we never tell people how we feel. We never tell people we're upset about something. They disappointed us, they hurt our feelings, something made us mad. We have to tell other people how we feel. People can't read our minds. Nobody can read your mind. You have to be able to talk up about what you feel and the things that you're going through or whatever it is. Sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. It'll be uncomfortable for a little bit because if you're not used to speaking up for yourself, yes, it may be hard. Yes, it may be difficult, but it's important. Anything that is important to you, you are going to continue. You're going to work at it. Remember, you can do it. Being an effective communicator, it takes time. It's not something that just happens just like that. And we have to learn to communicate differently with different people. Some people, you have to speak to them very slowly, very calmly. And other people, you have to be more direct and blunt. So you have to know the person that you're speaking to or the group that you're speaking to, and then move according to that. So you don't want to get to the point where you become triggered because you are holding so much pain and weight and hurt behind a situation, but you have never voiced it. We have to learn to voice what we are thinking. You're holding yourself hostage in pain. It's like you're allowing yourself to drown in the anger, the problem, the stress, and you're crying about it, you're losing sleep, all of this when you could just have a conversation. It's so important to have a conversation with if someone wronged you, or to have conversation just to show appreciation. I want to speak to that for a little bit. We have to also communicate with, especially in relationships with your family members, with your friends, or in the relationship, your romantic relationship, but you have to communicate what is going on with you. You can't expect people to read your mind. You can't expect for people to know what you want today, tomorrow, in a week, in a year. You have to speak up. You have to speak up for yourself. And I will say that because so many times in relationships, we are upset. We have pain behind something, but did you communicate with them? Did you tell them how you felt? Do you tell people what you want? That's another big thing. We have to tell people what we want. You can't just expect for people to do things for you, be there for you, and support you if you don't communicate it effectively. You must communicate effectively. Tell people why, how, and give them a timeline. I need you to do this for me by this time, or I need you to call me more often. I like when you do X, Y, and Z. When you do that, you are respecting yourself, but you're also respecting other people. Problems come in relationships, all relationships, friendships, um, with family members, co-workers, with your significant other. All these problems happen because everyone is walking around expecting that people know things. You should know by now, or we've been together this period of time, so you should already know what I like. No, you have to tell people what you want, and you have to also tell people your boundaries. Speak up about your boundaries. I don't like when this happens, or I like when this happens. We have to be able to put out there what we want, what we need, and that's how people can be able to treat us in the right way. We go into situations and problems are made when we always think people should be able to know how we feel. They should know by now. They should know. Why should somebody know how you feel if you have not told them? Once you tell somebody else, that's a whole different ball game. But I'm speaking up about, have you communicated with your family members things that you don't like, things that you do like? Because you can, people can be doing something, maybe something nice for you, but it's not what you want. So it's important for you to speak up and say, I like this. And also show gratitude to people who actually listen to you. We have to show gratitude and appreciation for all relationships. That's a part of being an adult, part of being mature. Show gratitude and appreciation to those who are supportive of you, those who listen to you. We can't always expect to receive. We have to also give as well. So you have to also give appreciation and respect if you want to gain it as well. So this is another point, guys. You have to know your rights and resources. So if something is, serious, like somebody did something in the workplace, or you saw a crime, or something is not sitting right with you, someone did something that you thought was, rude, you have to voice it. You have to know your rights. You have to speak up, and you have to know how to escalate things in a proper way. Sometimes you may need to get the police involved, especially if it involves um, children or elderly people, and something happened and it's wrong. So when you're speaking up, don't fall into the over explaining trap, because speaking up, is already something uncomfortable, and you may need to say more than you ordinarily would do, or keep talking to fill in a space. But don't do that. Keep it brief. When you keep things simple, there's no room for interpretation. You have to just say what needs to be said and just be done. So number 2, you have to be clear on what you want to accomplish. So, are you speaking up on behalf of your own boundaries, or because you have a sense that your colleague, your um, your family member, your spouse, your significant other feels a certain way? So you have to be clear. What is your objective? Whatever the reason is, that is your goal, that is the accomplishment. So if the person that you're speaking to reacts badly, avoid escalating the situation. you know we sometimes go into, we have a conversation in our head. Okay, I'm going to say this, and then they're going to say that. No, you have to go into a situation not having any expectations. You have to know that other people have their own opinions, they have their own way of thinking, and you can't expect somebody else to just give you back what you are wanting, because like I said, everybody is a free moral agent, and we all have the rights to have the freedom to think what we want to think. So we have to also be compassionate to all parties, and we have to include ourselves in that, because speaking up is very hard. It can be very frustrating, especially if you're a person who is not a person who really wants to communicate. You struggle with communication. You have problems speaking up for yourself. But we have to learn that if you don't, you're giving yourself emotional pain in the future. You are going to wrestle with, why didn't I speak up? Why didn't I say something when I should have? So instead of having that emotional discomfort in the future or having anger later on with somebody else, we have to learn to be compassionate to ourselves and to others. And when we have compassion for ourselves and for others, we know we have to speak up because it's time. And we have to assume that it's going to go a long way, that the conflict could be resolved constructively. We have to think the best of all situations going into it. Don't think, oh, it's not going to go well. So think the best of the situation. So after you speak up, ask yourself, did I really just say that? There's a tendency for us to want to replay the conversation in our head, especially if it did not go the way we wanted it to go. But you spoke up how you felt. You were respectful, hopefully, and you have to take note of how you feel. Was it difficult for you to speak up? Are you relieved now? Or are you anxious or frustrated? So don't replay, you have to also replay what worked in the conversation. What was their reaction? What did they say? Did they empathize with what you said? Was the conflict resolved? Or what could have been done differently? These are the questions that we just have to ask ourselves. Yeah, because if you don't know how will they? Exactly, Lala. We can't expect people to be mind readers. And I know for a long time, especially growing up having Caribbean background, in my family, my parents being of Caribbean descent, that they just didn't speak up about things. It was just everything was bottled up until it was just a blowout. And that's just not the best way to be. And that's why I wanted to do this live stream and talk with you guys. I don't know who else has gone through this or who is going through it, but just because you were raised a certain way, it doesn't mean you have to continue. If something is not healthy or if something is not working, then make changes, then do something different. Yep, and don't get mad when they don't agree with you. Right, Lala? We have to allow people to have their own opinions. We have to allow people to think, because everybody thinks differently. Everyone has different opinions. The ways of their situation, they have different outlooks because everybody has been through different situations. So we can't get mad just because things didn't go the way we wanted it to go. But the most important thing is that you spoke up and you told that person how you feel. Yeah, and we can't expect people to think like us. Everybody is different. Everybody is a different individual. Each person is unique and has gone through different situations. That's what shapes you and makes you into who you are. The situations, the things that you have been through, the struggles that you have overcome. So we can't expect other people, just because we think a certain way, for them to be on board automatically, or to just say, oh, yeah, that's good, or to like it, or want to do what we want to do. The most important thing is that you can have two different opinions and get along. That's one of the things that I learned in therapy that completely like blew my mind. I always was under the assumption that if somebody cares about you, then they're always going to agree with your opinion. They're going to like the things that you like. They're going to support the things you like. No, I learned in my maturity as an adult that you have to learn sometimes to agree to disagree. Being an adult is you have to learn acceptance. You have to learn acceptance of what somebody else thinks, what somebody else feels, and come to a respectful agreement. Okay, I I hear what you say. I listen to what you say. I don't agree with it, but I'm listening to you. So we have to learn to get to that point also in relationships. When we communicate with others, we have to learn also to respect other people's feelings, respect other people's opinion. We don't have to come to, oh, hold hands and everything is kumbaya and everything is great. No, it's all about, hey, Tracy Lee, happy Friday, sis. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you're doing great. Yes, TGIF. Yes. Thank you so much for coming. Today, we're talking about speaking up for ourselves, just speaking up in general, learning to communicate effectively. And I have found that the older that I have gotten, is I realized that my communication style was not effective. I used to get mad at others because they didn't agree with what I agreed with. And we have to learn that part of the adulthood is learning to be mature and accepting. We have to learn to accept a difference of opinion. Thank you so much, Tracy Lee. We have to learn acceptance, and I think that that's a part of healing our the wounds of our own heart, and allowing for us to mature as well as human beings. We have to also learn to yay, I got a member. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tracy Lee. Welcome to the Best Life crew. Thank you. Check out some of the members only videos and posts. If you go and click on the playlist members only, you'll find lots of things. So welcome, Tracy Lee. So also as well, we have to learn that we don't always have to agree with each other's feelings, and that's part of being mature. Being mature means acceptance. We have to understand people have various opinions, and we don't have to get mad because others don't agree with our opinions. That's part of the freedom. That's part of being a human being, is being able to have an opinion. You have an opinion, and it's okay if somebody does not agree with you. I think that that's something that we always worry about, that all the time. We always want people to not only listen to us, but to agree with everything that we say. And that's just not realistic. We have to be realistic in our thinking. Everybody thinks differently. Everybody has different thoughts. Everybody has different goals and hopes and dreams, and they're not always going to align. And we have to learn to be okay with that. We have to be okay with changing circumstances, with changing thoughts. And that's part of us growing up. That's part of growing up. I think when you are a child, or before you get into your awakening, before you know who you are, before you know about loving yourself and respecting yourself, when you learn to respect yourself, you learn to respect other people's opinions. And that's how you raise raise your level of awareness. Right. If everyone agreed with each other, life would be boring, if you ask me. I agree completely, Lala, because we can't always expect everybody to be the same. That would be like everybody would be like robots. It would be like living life in black and white. How boring would that be? It would be completely boring if we always wanted other people to be the same. Oh, I like pink. Oh yeah, I like pink too. What would it be if everybody liked the same things? Everybody would wear the same clothes. Everybody would eat the same food. But that's part of life is variety. Variety is the spice of life. Um, People having different hairstyles, people, different personalities. That's all what makes life so interesting is that you can never stop learning. You always have something to learn, not only about others, but yourself as well. And it helps you to grow up, to broaden your outlook so that you can grow into where you need to be next. Because we have to learn to level up, not only in our personal maturity, not in our only thinking, but also in our personality. We have to allow people to be themselves. And that's how you respect yourself. You can't expect people to respect you and always want to listen to you if you cannot listen to others, if you cannot just sit back and say, that's different, and not get mad. Don't get mad. Don't get upset about it. Don't close your ears. Become aware of other people. Respect other people for their different thinking. Just think if everybody wanted to be a doctor, who would be the teachers? Exactly, Lala. I always say there's a place for everybody in this world. If everybody wanted to, like Lala say, everybody wanted to be a doctor, then would you need teachers? Would you need, cashiers? Would you need people who would do the janitorial work, or housekeepers, or bookkeepers, or whatever the case may be? So we have to learn that it's okay. It's okay to be different, but we also have to learn to respect others' opinion. Just like we would want to be respected, we would want to respect others as well. We do that because not only because we love ourselves, but because we respect ourselves. And I didn't understand how powerful that was until I had to look at my own self in the mirror and go deep in myself. The problem when you don't accept other people's thoughts and opinions and respect their thoughts and opinions is because at the root of it all, we are not respecting ourselves. We have to learn to respect who we are. We have to learn to respect our opinions and our thoughts. Yes, they matter, but it's not the only opinion. We have to learn that our opinion is not an absolute because people are different. People are different. People are different, and we have to respect other people as well as ourselves. And part of respecting ourselves is just giving ourselves the room to speak up, say how you feel. Just sometimes it's just like so hard sometimes. Like you could be spinning your wheels and you just want to get things out from your heart, you know, from your head to your heart and out of your mouth. But sometimes you just don't know how to find the words to say how you feel. But write it down, write down how you feel. You know, do that practice in front of the mirror, especially if somebody you want to confront, whether it be your employer, your boss, or a family member, a friend, when something is not how you want it to be. Part of that respect and love for yourself, it means that you allow yourself the room. I allow myself the room to grow. I allow myself the room to respect myself. I respect who I am. I know who I am and I deserve to be respected. And in that way, you are going to talk about what you think. Nobody is a mind reader. We have to remind ourselves that all the time. Sometimes when I feel disappointed about situations, I have to go back in my mind and say, did I tell them how I felt? Why did this happen? We always have to ask the questions why and how when things happen. So that way you don't keep repeating the same mistakes. Don't keep hitting your head against the wall. That's part of respecting others as well. Knowing who you are, knowing what you want, and then being able to voice that to other people. Because we have to understand that discussing your feelings or writing them down in a journal, you have to watch out for the tendency to compromise your boundaries or your future conversations to try to regain your previous comfort level. We have to make changes constantly in our personal growth and our journey in life. We have to constantly keep evolving into a better person. It's a regeneration, a progress we have to make with our lives. But our ongoing journey with loving ourselves means that we have to be open to see what it is, our weaknesses, the things that maybe we need to work on. We have to be honest about that and say, I need to work on this and I can do it. So we have to learn to speak up for ourselves. We have to speak up for others. We have to advocate for other people. And I'm telling you, the growth is not easy. Most of the time, personal growth is very uncomfortable. But we have to understand that to get comfortable in our lives, a lot of times we have to dig down into the uncomfortableness in order for us to get comfortable. So we have to learn to speak up for ourselves because it's always worth it in the end. It's always worth it for us to respect ourselves, for other people to respect us. Yeah, absolutely. We must respect ourselves. And in that we just have to love ourselves. Yes, it is, and it's also necessary. Absolutely, Tracy Lee. We have to speak up. And I don't know about everybody, but I wasn't raised in the atmosphere where it was accepted for me to speak up. So it's something that for me was learned. Everybody is different. Some people had that atmosphere at home where they were allowed to be free. Their opinions were respected. But I'm speaking to the ones who did not get that. They were not on that level. They didn't get that level ground of being respected. They were not given your opinion matters and your opinion is valuable. So, to those, I would say you have to practice it first for yourself. Yeah, and you have to have those conversations with yourself too. I respect me. My opinion is important. My opinion matters. So I'm going to say what I want, what I need, and why I need it with all of those that matter. So the people who matter in your life are the people who should be closest to you, like the family members who actually care about you. I'm not talking about the ones that don't. I mean the family members that support you and love you and encourage you. Voice how you feel about them. Voice when they do something nice for you. We have to constantly keep working on not just giving out demands, but also giving back appreciation, love, kindness. Those are the things that make relationships get stronger. We can't always say, do this, like we are a dictator. This is not a dictatorship in in life, in relationships. We have to learn to respect each other. I will tell you how I feel, and you tell me how you feel. And if we don't agree, it's okay. We can agree to disagree. That's part of the maturity. This life is all about forward progress and movement. We have to constantly rechange the trajectory of our life. If things are not going the way you want it to go in your life, change it. If your communication isn't working with family members or friends, ask questions and be ready for the response. Don't just ask why, be ready when they tell you why. Maybe you need to work on your tone. Maybe you are screaming, or maybe whatever it is, it's not effective to that person. We have to ask, is it working with whoever we are with? We have to ask. We have to ask questions. We can't be afraid to ask the questions. And we can't be afraid to ask the questions. We have to be willing. We have to be willing to be effective communicators. And it's a work in progress, a constant work in progress. We have to give, and we have to be ready to receive. And it's not just about us being happy, us being whatever it is. We have to be okay with maybe we're not going to get the response that we want. And we have to be all right with that. We have to allow people the room. You have to allow people room to be themselves. You have to allow people room to grow. You have to allow people to just be who they are. Hey, Sugar Love, how are you? Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, we have to learn to speak up, not only for ourselves, but we have to speak up for others. And in that way, we are going to feel good about ourselves. You know, it feels so good when you are on the level in your life that you can be able to say how you feel, communicate it effectively, and feel good about the delivery. You know that you are personally growing as an individual, when before, if you would just go off on somebody, you pull back, or you say, now is not a good time. It's all about maturity, personal growth, development. You know, in life, we are always on a journey. We can always do better and be better. But the choice is yours. You have to want to do better. You have to want to be better. You have to want to be a more effective communicator. You know, it's all up to us. It's an individual or a personal decision whether we want to do things in our life, because we can always make a choice to just, I don't want to do anything, just sit back and let whatever happens. Or you can be a person to be miserable. Do you want to be miserable for the rest of your life? Do you want to always constantly hold in the pain from the past? Do you always want to keep bringing up what happened 20 years ago? Or are you going to make a choice to let that go and to be free from it? Are you going to choose peace of mind? You're going to choose prosperity and joy and happiness every single day. That's a choice. That's a choice. Every single day, you have to make a choice to love yourself. And in loving yourself, that means learning to be better. Learning to be better, not only for yourself, but for others. Because we have to realize that when we look at ourselves and we fix things that may not be right about ourselves, other people benefit. When you tell people how you feel, when you tell people why and how this is not working for you, or why and how you don't like things, other people benefit from that, because they don't have to deal with maybe you having a bad mood swings, or anger outbursts, or whatever it is. So when you work on yourself, when you put in the hard work in the background, in the behind the scenes, those are the things that people don't see. People don't see when you are saying to yourself, I am making a decision to talk about how I feel instead of bottling it up inside. Because I'm telling you guys, bottling up your pain, your anger, or things and skeletons in the closet, it does not help. It does not help. It doesn't help anything. Hey, Calvin, another one of my members. How are you? Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to speak up for myself when lunch is ready for Calvin. I know you are, Calvin. Yeah, we have to learn to communicate that effectively, and we have to stop making excuses and saying, this is the way I am. How many times have we heard that in our lives? We will say, this is the way I am. This is how I was raised. Just because you were raised a certain way does not mean that it's right. You could be doing something for 20 or 30 years, but that does not make it right. If you want better, you have to do better. But like I say all the time, it's a personal choice. You have to want better for yourself. You have to want better for your life. You have to want to be able to speak up for yourself or to speak up for others. You have to want that. It's a personal choice, but you have to speak up. And the reason why it's so important to speak up, not only for yourself and others, is because you will be, have so much peace of mind. You will have so much peace of mind when you allow yourself to let go of things instead of harboring resentment. And how many of us have done that? So many times over the years, we're upset about something, but you have not told the other person. They let you down, they hurt your feelings. No, you push it down inside of yourself. You bottle up the anger. You're mad all the time. But you never told the person how you felt. You never told the person that they are doing X, Y, and Z to you. Yeah, Tracy Lee, it is a choice. It's a choice. And we have to make that choice. We have to make a choice to respect ourselves. I say, I respect myself enough that I'm not going to be mad. I'm making the choice that I'm going to just say how I feel, whether it's accepted or not. And we have to learn that as well. Just because we say something, it doesn't mean some people are going to be right on our level with us. Some people, because of the way they were raised, their communication style, or just a situation, they may be going through a situation right now where their mind or their heart is not in a space that they're ready to receive, anything from you. We have to remember everybody in their life is on a journey. Some people on a good journey, some people no. But you have to allow people room to do what they want to do. We can't change other people. You can't change other people. You can't make people support you. You can't make people listen to you. You cannot make it. You can't make anybody do anything. We can't even make ourselves do things sometimes. We will want for things to happen and we will talk about making things happen, and then we don't do it. So if we ourselves can't make ourselves do things, how can we expect other people to do the same? At work, at work now for the moment, and I had a moment to stop by your way and hang out until I go home. Thank you so much, Calvin. Yes, everybody has choices to make in their life. Everyone. And that's what we have to understand. We have to understand that everybody has a choice. Everybody. It's not just ourselves. And we have to learn to not be selfish and think that the world revolves around us and that our opinion is the only opinion. And that causes us to have some humility. It's not easy to be humble. It's natural for us to think about ourselves. And I don't mean, thinking less of yourself or anything like that, but we can't think we're the only person in the world. We're not the only person in the world. There's other people out there, different situations, different circumstances, different way of thinking. So we have to learn to accept that and receive that too, that everybody is different and everybody is not going to accept what you say, what you do. But like Calvin said, he's still going to be himself. You have to be yourself. And we have to learn to be accepting of that as well. Regardless of who is there for you, regardless of who supports you, you have to just continue to be yourself. And that can hurt sometimes. It can hurt, and you can feel distraught, let down by that, because we want people to accept us. We want people to be there for us. We want people to support us. But when somebody doesn't, they just don't. You can't force somebody to love you. You can't force somebody to support you. You can't force people to be kind to you. You can't make people understand if they don't. That's the point of learning to receive things. We have to see things at face value. Sometimes that's just the way it is. People just aren't going to be able to fulfill you and give you the things that you need, either because they're not the right person, they're not supposed to be there for you. And we have to learn to receive that as well. Some people just aren't the right people for us. They're not our people. They're not our circle of people who are supposed to be there for us. We have to learn to stop focusing on the negative, focusing on the people who don't support us, and focus on the people who do. Focus on the ones that matter. Put your love and your energy into those people, and withdraw your thinking, withdraw being upset, mad, disappointed, let down from the ones who don't. Don't give your energy and your power to that. Put your energy into the people who actually give it back to you, the people who do support you, the people who do love you, the people who encourage you and who are there for you. That's what you have to put your energy into, because that will renew you, restore you, and strengthen you. We have to understand that. Hey, Anita. Happy Friday, sis. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you and your family are doing great. Yes. Yes, exactly, Anita. We have to learn that. We have to learn that. It's important for us to understand everybody is not meant for us. And it hurts to say that sometimes, because we want people to be in our circle. We want people to be on our team, but they just aren't. You can't make people love you. You can't make people be there for you. You can't make people support you. You can't make people understand you. You can't do that. You may want it, but we have to understand that some people aren't meant for us. We have to understand that sometimes God is pulling us away from them because they're not good for us. Remember, the people who are supposed to be there for you will be. And if they're not, it's for a reason. They may not be at a space in their life where they can be there for you. They may be going through their own difficulties and trials, or they may not care for you. You know, just because people are related to us by blood or by circumstances or by marriage, it doesn't mean that they have your best interests at heart. It doesn't mean that. Just because people are in our life, it doesn't mean that they are good for us. It doesn't mean they're good for us. We have to understand and realize that. Just because some people are in our lives, it does not mean that they are good for us. Some people are no good for us. And we have to stop trying to be around people who have already shown you who they are. They're already showing you that they don't want to be there for you. They're already telling you that they don't support you by their actions. They're telling you, they're showing you. But we want to keep our eyes closed. We want to make excuses for them. But don't do that. Respect yourself, uplift yourself, believe in yourself, and love yourself enough to see what it is. This is what it is. They do not support me. They do not care about me. They do not love me because love is kind. Love is generous. Love is forgiveness. Love is acceptance. Love is concern and care. And you can't make somebody love you. You can't make somebody care about you. You can't make somebody understand. Either they do or they don't. They will or they won't. That's just what it is. And we have to learn to stop trying to force people. When somebody has already said no to you, stop making a no a yes. Stop forcing a relationship that is not meant to be for you, a relationship that is toxic. We have to learn to remove ourselves from the toxic and put ourselves in a healthy, peaceful environment where we can have peace of mind and understanding and respect. We have to do that for ourselves. We have to do that for ourselves because we deserve that. When we know our worth and our value, we can't look at ourselves as less. We're not going to go back in the past to who we were. We're going to stand here today into who we are today. And who you are today is somebody who is deserving of respect, who is deserving of being talked to in a kind way, of being understood. Being understood, it doesn't mean that you have to agree. They don't have to agree with you, but they can come to an understanding of what it is that makes you tick, what makes you happy. And they would work to do things to continue to be respectful of you. But as we come into our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with God, our relationship with our family, our friends, our workmates, we have to know ourselves. We have to know ourselves. And when we know ourselves, that means that we have to learn what is good and receive that and say, this is good for me. And when we know something is bad for us, we have to receive that as well. We have to receive that as well. Say, this is not good for me. They are never here for me. They do not support me. They don't respect me. They talk to me any kind of way. They ignore me. That's not the ways of love. The ways of love is kindness, respect. Don't allow people to disrespect you. You deserve better than that. You deserve better than that. Oh, I'm great, Anita. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, don't let it bother you if they are not there. We have to understand that. The people who are supposed to be there for you, they are. And we have to learn to open up our eyes and look around and see that. Who is there for me? Who are really my people? Hmm. Yes. And blood don't make us love family. God makes us love one another. That's an amen. I can say that from the rooftop. Just because people are related to us by blood, and I can understand it because that's your blood and you want things and you want their support and you want their love. But if they're not giving it to you, if they're not giving it to you, then stop trying to ask for it. You're asking for something that they can't give you. They're already showing you, I can't give you that. What you want, that's nice, but I can't give you that. Maybe they're not the right person. Maybe they're not a good person. And you're being protected from certain things. Stop trying to say yes to something God has already told you. The answer is no. And we have to learn to receive that as well. Stop saying yes to something God has said no to. He has told you no already. He has told you no. And you keep going back to it. You keep going back to them. You keep having this unrealistic expectation. Maybe now they will support me. Maybe now they will support me. And you keep hoping and wishing. Stop doing that to yourself. Stop doing that to yourself. You deserve better than that. Yes, Anita, action tells it all. Action tells it all. People tell you who they are by their actions, by the things that they say to you, even in the things they don't say, just their body language, just their asking questions like, I'm here for you. I care about you. Is there something you need? How can I help you? Those are your people. That is your support team. Those are the people you need to get close to, not the ones that ignore you, talk to you rudely, are disrespectful, cause you anxiety, always, always on the low, always on the low, asking for something. They always want something from you, but they will never do something for you. They will never do something for you, but they always want something from you. Huh? Open your eyes, my people. Open your eyes and your ears. Listen and receive. Stop asking people to give you what they cannot give you. They can't give you it. Stop asking for it. Receive that. Receive that. We want people to give us something that they can't give you. And it's not fair to them and it's not fair to you. You're asking them to give you and do something for you that they can't. Yes, God wants his children to have the best. And we have to understand that. When you know you deserve the best, when you know you deserve respect, kindness, love, peace of mind, support, you deserve that. And if you are not getting that from people who you claim are your family, are your friends, are your significant significant other, then you just have to stop. Andrew, put your phone out the door. Andrew, that's my phone. Andrew, I put your phone on the couch. Phone is 100% charged. Yes, we have to understand. We have to understand that. We have to understand that. Always praying for each other. We have to keep supporting each other, understanding each other, being kind to each other. And that's what most people don't do. You can't just say in words what you want, but it's your actions. What are the actions behind it? What are your actions showing? What are your actions showing in your life? It's all about the actions in our life. What are the actions behind what people say? Is it really good for you? Is it healthy for you? And we have to understand that when you are dealing with emotional pain, it affects you physically. It affects your sleeping habits. So it's important for us to communicate, open up how we are feeling, the things that we are going through. We have to understand that part as well. We have to understand that part as well. We have to respect and love ourselves enough. We have to love ourselves enough that we have to know that it's okay. It's okay to respect ourselves. It's okay to say when something is not right for us. It's okay when we just say, I need a personal break. I need some time to be by myself. I need some time to love and understand me. I need some time to recharge my batteries, unplug and refuel. People who care about you will understand. They will support you. They will support you in all your endeavors, whatever it is, especially if it's something new for you, a new business, a new something, a new goal, something you're trying to accomplish. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, Anita, we have to learn to speak out. Speak out. Speak up. We have to be that voice. Remember, if you are the most important voice, you know, what you think really matters a lot. And we have to understand that. Hey, and Parent Choice, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Happy Friday to everyone in the chat. Thank you. We have to understand that we have to speak up and we have to speak out for not only ourselves, but we have to be that voice for the person who can't speak, the voice for the voiceless. Sometimes we have to speak up for a person, maybe who we see something isn't right going on right for them. Maybe somebody's not treating them right. But remember, life is all about a balance. And if you see something is not right and you don't speak up for them, one day you are going to need someone to speak up for you and they won't. Remember that. All the things that you do, trust me, it comes back. Everything is just like a boomerang in life. Everything is like a boomerang. What you throw out there is what is going to come back to you. It's going to come back, and you want what comes back to you to be something nice. You want it to be something good. So keep at it. Communication is a work in progress. I recently went through it and recharged, and I'm moving up that ladder. I have people I love that love me, moderate and that balance. That's good in a parent choice. That's good. And I'm so glad that you are working on yourself. We have to understand that everything in life is a choice. We have to, if we feel miserable, if we feel unhappy, if we don't like something, we have the ability to change it. You can change your way of thinking, you can change your circumstance, you can change who you are in a circle of your immediate circle of friends. Everything is a choice. But we have to speak up and speak out and advocate for ourselves and for others. There's no point in being unhappy. Life is too short for you to be unhappy, especially when you don't have to be. You don't have to be unhappy. You can have the choice to have so much joy in your life, but it's a choice. It's a choice every single day. You have to make that choice whether you're going to talk up about it, tell somebody how you feel, let it go, forgive. All of them being choices, but it's important to speak up and voice how you feel. That's why I wanted to do this live stream, to encourage somebody who is bottling up something, bottling up their anger, bottling up their pain, struggling with something from the past, childhood experiences, teenage experiences, whatever it is that's going on in your life, or a person who's grieving. You never know. You never know. Everybody's going through something, everybody's struggling with something in their life. But you have to speak up and you have to talk to somebody. And I want to encourage somebody who has not. If you need to talk to somebody, especially if you need to talk to a therapist or a counselor or somebody, but if you're going through a situation, don't think you have to hold everything in. Don't think because of what somebody else may think, oh, they went to therapy, something's wrong with them. Just because they don't want to work on themselves, that's their choice. Remember, you have a personal choice to heal your own heart. You have to make that choice for yourself. It's a personal choice. Yes, Anita, exactly. You have to make that choice. Yes, love yourself, but choose to be who you are and what makes you feel good, unless it's hurting on purpose. Not enough benefit to do that. Midlife crisis. Make your own decisions. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. In a parent choice, we have to make a choice. Well, she was a smart woman. We have to make choices that make us feel good. But the problem that I always have, and why another reason I wanted to do this live stream, is that we keep making a choice to have people in our lives that are toxic to us, that are hurting us, that bring pain, that are using us, and we keep them in our lives, and we keep them in our lives, and we keep them in our lives, and we keep excusing their behavior, and we keep wanting change, and we keep wanting support, and they're not giving to us, and we keep expecting it, and we keep waiting, and we keep being disappointed, and we keep constantly, like a circle, like a cycle. We're making a cycle of pain and hurt for ourselves. But we have to learn to speak up and say, they are not good for me. They are not healthy for me. They are not supporting me. They are not what I need. No one is an apparent choice. No one is. No one is perfect. I know some people, they do act like they are. They act like they have never made a mistake in their life. But it's okay. When you know who you are, when you love yourself, you have to also give room to be where they are in their lives. And sometimes you have to give people room to just be by themselves. You have to give people room. It's fine if you want to keep making those bad decisions, but I'm going to give you room over there by yourself. If somebody cannot support me, I am over the ones that don't support me. And I understand everybody goes through problems and situations, but if it's something on the regular basis, they're showing you, I'm not going to accept that. And I want you to receive that as well. Don't accept bad behavior. Learn to speak up for yourself and say, I'm not going to accept that. I'm not going to accept people disrespecting me. I'm not going to accept that because I deserve better than that. I am worthy of better. I am somebody. We have to remember that. I am somebody. I am somebody of meaning. I am somebody of value. I am highly favored. Understand that and receive that. We have to stop looking to others for our acceptance. We have to stop looking to others for our love. You have to love yourself, and you have to be okay with all your flaws, all your problems. You have to receive yourself whole just as you are. And you have to change the things that you want to change. And you have to be around people who spark you for improvement and for personal growth. Yeah, you have to know how to feed them from a long handle spoon and love and keep it going so that it won't be so you won't be hurt. Forgiveness. That's a whole journey. That's a whole journey in life. Learning when to say when to people. You have to realize, okay, this is not good. This is toxic. I'm not being respected. We have to realize that, accept it, and receive it. Because sometimes we love people, but they aren't loving you back. They aren't loving you back. They're showing you who they are. And you have to realize that and let them go. Yes, support those who love and support you. Please, I wish I could scream that from the top of the mountain. Support and love those who support you. You have to give back. That's how you feel good. That's how you feel strengthened. But if somebody's always taking, using, never being there for you, never respecting you, doesn't value your opinion, doesn't check on you, hmm, be leery. Be leery about those ones. Don't let people use you. Don't let people use you. Don't let people disrespect you, talk to you in any kind of way. Don't do that. You deserve better than that. Forgiveness is it. I'm still learning. You have to let them feed themselves, right? You do. You do. You have to let people be themselves. But in that, you don't have to stick around. Don't have to stick around if it's a toxic environment for you, if it's not conducive to your forward progress. You don't have to stay in that. You don't have to stay around. You don't have to listen to the foolishness. You don't have to be around the deceit and the using and the manipulation. You don't have to. Everything in life is a choice. Everything. Yeah, they may not get it. It's okay. People don't have to get you. And that's what I say all the time. It comes to you knowing yourself. It's when you are on the ground that, the level ground that, I respect your feelings, but you're going to respect mine as well. And in that, if you cannot support me and respect me, I'm going to have to let you go. Yeah, we have to learn to let people go. The people who are not serving a purpose. If they're not serving the purpose of supporting us, listening to us, you know, listening and understanding somebody is a whole, it's a whole, it just makes you feel good. It makes you feel understood. It doesn't make you feel used. You have to allow people to be themselves, and you have to open your eyes and say, am I really getting what I deserve? And you have to be ready to receive that with honesty. No, I'm not getting what I deserve. And it's time for me to pull back from those people. You got to pull back from people who are using you or taking advantage of you. Yeah, exactly. Don't let people take advantage of your kindness. You know, just as the saying goes, the first time someone does wrong to you, it's shame on them. The second time you allow someone to do something to you is shame on you. Now the ball is in your court. The ball is in your court now. The first time it's shame on them. The second time is shame on you. You have to learn to be responsible for your choices. You got to be responsible for your choices, what you accept into your life. You got to be okay with that. Yes, thank you, Anita. Yes. Oh my goodness. Those two letters, no, it means so much. Just learning to say no and being okay with that. It is okay to say no. So many times we say yes to things and we regret it later. And we'll say, why did I ever say yes to this? We have to say no because we deserve a break. Sometimes you just can't do something, or something is just not good for us, and we have to say no. You have to say no sometimes if it's not good for you, or if you know you can't keep that commitment. It's much worse if you say yes to something and then you just don't show up, you don't call, and then when later on you say, I couldn't do it, well, then why didn't you say no? We have to learn to keep our word. We have to keep our word. Yeah, learning that I cannot control what I can't control and take responsibility for what I can. Exactly. We have to understand that as well. We can't worry about what we can't control. If you can't control it, then you have to learn to release that and let it go. So many people have that problem. They have the problem of wanting to control other people. They want to control what other people say. They want to control what other people do. They want to control how people support. They want to have, be dominant and controlling and a boss over somebody else's life. You can't control what somebody else says, does, and feels. All you can be in control of is what you do. Yes, you have to say no with a smile. You have to. You have to say no with a smile. Exactly. Say no and mean it and don't worry about it. It is okay. And you have to understand that. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. You can't worry about it. And you may go through the whole wrestling about, oh, and you go back and forth. Oh, I maybe I should have said yes. When you make a decision, don't be sorry. If something is not good for you and you can't do it, say no and feel good about it because that's what is right for you. Don't let people talk you into saying yes for something that you're not ready for something that is not good for you, for something that does not fulfill you and make you feel good about yourself. Because if it doesn't feel good in your gut, if it doesn't feel good, if it's not going to help you and support you, then it's a no. Just say you can't. Yes, a parent choice. Definitely a leader. Definitely a leader. People make choices that they can't keep, but God keeps his promises to us, giving us peace and joy on this journey in life. I agree with that, Anita, but we have to also understand that when we make choices, if we make bad choices, we also have to live with the consequences of those actions. We can't continuously keep jumping in to things without doing research, or when we know something doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right. Don't move forward for things that doesn't feel right to you. You're getting that inclination. You're getting that what is it called? You're I can't think of the word, but you are getting that over your mind that's telling you it's not a good idea. Your conscience, that's what I meant to say. Your conscience is telling you something is just not right. So listen to that conscience. We have to keep working on ourselves, and we have to understand that we are works in progress. Just like we expect other people to speak up and tell us the things that they want, we have to as well speak up and say the things that we want. Are you doing good at that? Are you being a good steward over your life, over the things that you want to do? Are you telling people who love you and support you that you love and support them as well? You have to meet people where they are. If you have people who are giving you love and support but you never give it back, eventually people will pull back from you. You have to also learn to give people love back to who are loving you. And when people don't, you need to move away from them. Yes, it's so true. Yeah, we have to learn that it's a learned process. That's why life is so difficult sometimes, because we know what we need to do. We know what we need to do, but then we don't do it. Hey, Angela, happy Friday. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming. Yep, exactly. You have to walk your own walk. You have to walk your own walk. And you have to allow yourself to be yourself. And in that, you have to allow other people to be themselves. So that means that you can't control other people. You can't control what they do. And so many years of my life I put into that, all my energy trying to make people do right. Either people are going to do right or they are not. You cannot make people do right. You cannot make people support you. You cannot make people understand you. Either people do or they don't. They will or they won't, or they can't. Some people just can't because they're not in that space. Sometimes just because they're not the right person for you, they're not right for you to be around. And we have to understand that people are seasonal as well. Just because people come into your life at a certain point doesn't mean that they're meant to come in to stay. Some people come into your life just in order to give you something you need, in order to get you from this space to that space, and then it's time for them to walk out. Mhm. That's exactly what it is. And we have to understand that. We don't understand when people leave our lives because the season and what you needed to learn is over. They came to teach you something, and now it's time for them to go. We have to understand that and receive that as well. And that can be difficult because sometimes we want to hold on to people. We want to hold on to people and we want to keep them in our lives. But if it's not right for us, if they're toxic to us, hmm, receive that as well. Some people are toxic for you and you need to pull away from them. Yes. Keep on going, a parent choice. Yes. Nothing is impossible. The only thing impossible is the what we put in our minds. We put it in our minds sometimes. Hey, Robert. Happy Friday. I hope you and your family are doing well. I just wanted to come on today to give everybody some encouragement, some encouragement, some love, even for you to change some of your thinking, because sometimes not everything that we think is healthy for us. It's not good for our mind space. It's not good for our heart. It's not good for us physically. It's not good for our energy source. Some people come in and they drain us, but we have to learn to speak up and say, "You're not good for me. You're toxic. I don't trust you. I love myself enough to not be around that." Yes, Angela, it is. It's so freeing to cut out the negative people, all of that. We have to. It makes us feel good about ourselves as well. And I just want to encourage you guys. I want to encourage you. I know it's not easy to speak up for yourself. I know it's not easy to cut some people off. Some people you have to cut them off and let them go, because they are like gangrene. Do you guys know about gangrene? When it gets into your body, if you don't cut it off, it will kill you. So you have to cut off people just like gangrene. You got to cut them off, or your life will be in danger. It's not worth it. The amount of distress some people can give you, the pain, the hurt, the using, the manipulation. You deserve much better than that, everyone. You deserve to be around people who support you and love you and understand you. I'm not saying everybody's going to be on the same level plane. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I mean that we have to learn to we have to agree to disagree. We have to learn to agree to disagree. Everybody doesn't have the same thinking. Everybody doesn't have the same goals. And people aren't in the same mind space. Some people don't want the same things. Some people are fine with their life as it is, and some people want to make changes and try new things. So don't try to change the people who want to stay the same. Find yourself some new people. Be around the people who want to do things. You can't change other people. What did I miss? Yes. So yes, don't sell your worth short. You are worthy. You have to understand that and recognize it. You're worthy of everything good, nothing but blessings in your life. But sometimes we block our blessings by not speaking up and communicating about what we want, about what we deserve, about what we desire. And we have to learn to speak up for ourselves. We have to speak up for the voiceless, the children, the elderly. We have to be a good example to other people. Be a good example. Be an example of change. Be an example of prosperity. Do that and be that. Do that and be that. Take some time to reflect. Write things down in a journal. Write it down in a journal and say what you want to do. What do you want to do for your life? Good morning. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you're doing well. Yes, we have to learn to speak up for ourselves. We have to be in line with our goals in our life. What is it that you want? What makes you happy? Are you doing what you want to do? Are you around the people that will help you get to that next level in your life? Have you learned peace of mind? Have you forgiven the past? Have you learned to let it go? We have to let things go from our past in order for us to stand in the present and move forward to the future. Forgive, let go, and gain prosperity and peace of mind. You can gain prosperity and peace of mind if you would only speak up and voice what you want. Let things go. Let things go that don't support you, that don't respect you. You deserve better than that. You deserve better. And once you receive that you deserve better, you're worthy, you have value, and you have meaning, then you're going to speak up for the things that you really want in your life. Remember, what you want means speaking up and getting what you want. If you're not getting what you want, you have to ask for it. Ask for what you want. Don't be afraid. Don't have fear about what other people want or whether they can give it to you or not, because that right there will help you. If they can't give you what you want, it's time for you to leave that and go to someone who will give you what you want. Yes, don't sell yourself short. You're deserving of much better. And you guys can do it. You can speak up for yourself because you deserve better. You deserve better. And when you know your worth and your value and your meaning and you respect yourself and you love yourself, you're going to make those type of choices. You are going to make good, wise choices when you love yourself. Keep loving yourself and respecting yourself and speak up for what you want. Speak up for what you deserve. I believe in you guys. Even if you don't have people around you that support you and love you, namely family or so called friends, it may be time for you to find a new circle of people. It may be time for you to find a new circle of people. Sometimes you just can't get what you want from the people who are around you. And sometimes it may take you having to go and move. Maybe you may have to move, get away, have a whole different circle of people around you. But whatever it is that you want to do, know you can do it. You have to know that. You can do anything that you want to do, and you have to claim that prosperity over yourself. Say that to yourself. I claim prosperity and abundance. I deserve the overflow. I am courageous and strong. I have value. When you speak that way over your life, you're going to speak up about the things that you want. So speak up about the things that you want and get ready to receive it. Get ready to receive your blessings. Receive your blessings because you're deserving of it. Yes, they're right outside of my window, Robert. every morning, every morning, those birds wake me up. The same birds, they come and land on the tree outside my window and sing for me. What a blessing. So I appreciate everybody for coming today. Um, and those who have watched on the replay, let me know down in the comment section, how do you speak up for yourself? You guys can do it. Communicate effectively. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Don't expect people to be there for you if they're not. They're showing you who they are. Remember, you deserve better. You have worth, you have value and meaning. You are somebody. Yes. Receive that. I just did a video and it came out yesterday. For those who have not watched it, please watch it. It's a very powerful message. Yes, I am, Angela. Yes, I am. Speak out because holding in pain can hurt. Speak out because holding in can hurt and cause pain. I understand that, Anita, and don't do that to yourself. Don't hold things in. Don't, if something is not working for you, then change it. Talk to somebody, see a therapist, enjoy some time, be outside, go outdoors, work on your goal. Whatever it is that you want to do whatever it takes to make it happen. If you don't love, who will love you? I know. You got to love yourself first, guys. Keep receiving that. You have to love you. Love yourself, guys. It takes a lot of work, but it's all worth it in the end. Receive your love first. Respect yourself. Be kind. Speak up for the things that you want and have the actions behind it. Be ready to receive it. Not everybody may be on your level of empowerment to know who they are and what they want. And it's okay. But since you're there, look for the people who are there already. And don't waste your time on the people who are not there and who don't support you. I am Marlene, and I am the content creator for Living Your Best Life. I thank you guys so much for coming to this Friday inspirational talk. And if it's your first time here, I would love it if you guys would subscribe to the channel, like it, and share me out. Also, leave me a comment in the comment section below. And I will see you guys on next Friday. Also, I have videos. And on Sunday is the Sunday talk show at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would welcome for you guys to come to that. And I thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great day, guys.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself.